Hello, wonderful people. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Creatives Podcast. I am your co-host, Simone Campbell.
And I am your co-host, Tevin Brown. And today, apologies guys, I just got the giggles today. But today we have an absolutely incredible actor where if you haven't seen his face at this point, what are you watching? Old things? Because he's been in pretty much every single show that has come around Albuquerque in the 505 in recent years. If you don't know his name, you absolutely know his face. And by the end of this episode, I want you to know his name too. We have Alex.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate you guys so much. This is an amazing opportunity. I love being part of the industry, so thank you guys for setting this all up.
Oh man, and thank you so much for being on the show, especially. And it was like when I saw your name on the list, for those that don't know, we already know each other. It was so great to see him, and then I was like, Alex, my man. So I guess kind of getting right started, because we haven't actually ever had these type of conversations, because with this it's a lot more casual, and we've always had casual, but kind of honing my random tangent off there, honing it down. How did you kind of get started in all of it? Because I know I said actor, but you also do so many other things as well.
Director, MMA instructor.
This is actually a funny happenstance. Originally, I came from New York here to be an MMA fighter. I wanted to be in the UFC. I live and train and coach out of Jackson Wink MMA, so I coach kids and adults with special needs as well.
Nice.
And so I did, I was trying to do some side gigs to pay for training, and so I saw a post on Craigslist. Do you want to be an extra? I thought, hey, it seems pretty cool. Let me try it out. They called me to be there tomorrow morning. It was for Get Shorty. So growing up, I don't know if you guys watched the show Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh, yeah. Classic.
Ray Romano was on set that day. So I'm just like, oh, this is legitimate. So like, this is...
Yeah. Not just a Craigslist ad.
I watched you growing up, and now you're in front of me.
Oh.
Plus, there was a bunch of other people, like Phil Lamar, who does the voices for like Static Shock, Green Lantern, stacked people. Peter Stormare, who played the Devil in Constantine. Bunch of just well-known actors in one scene.
Wow.
I'm getting to share the scene with them, and I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just like, this is a dream. But it was at that moment I kept doing that as a way to pay for training. So I was like, let me try to balance both worlds. But the real pivotal moment I've had was I had a huge audition, biggest audition of my life at the time. It was the role opposite, what would have been opposite of Zoe Saldana. So if you don't know her, she's in the top 4 of the 5 grossing movies of all time.
Yeah.
So Avatar 1, 2, Endgame, and Infinity War. Her family's going to have money for the rest of her life.
The other set. And she's so incredible and talented and beautiful.
And she's still working hard and still getting roles, which some people would just stop working at this point, and she's not. She's putting the foot on the gas pedal and getting even more roles. So she's supposed to be in Avatar 3, Avatar 4, nonstop. So this role would be opposite of her, and huge opportunity, and I nail it on the first audition, and I have a callback on Monday, and I have a fight, an actual like kickboxing fight on Saturday in between the first audition and the second, and I get my nose broken in the fight. And it's like a movie moment, and so I get knocked to the ground, and the referee's counting in slow motion, 1, 2, and my corner man screaming, get the F up. And I'm just like sitting there, I touch my nose, and I can tell it's broken by like the sheer pain and all the blood coming out. I'm like, and I was at that moment, I was like, what am I doing with my life? And so I decided to make a career shift. I'm like, I'm not being paid for fighting at this point, and my acting career had already started taking off much quicker than my fighting career, and that was the moment I decided to pivot and officially abandon MMA as a career and officially go into film as a career.
Wow. Zoe Saldana, if you're watching right now, you missed out. Wow, what an incredible story. How did that impact your identity and your sense of self? Because it sounds like you were already in the process of this huge shift. So, I mean, it must have been so pivotal,
Yeah, great question. A lot of people, I should say, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
Oh, yeah.
He has a great quote that says the NFL was the greatest thing that never happened to him. A lot of people don't know that he was actually aspiring to be in the NFL prior to being an actor or wrestler, and it didn't work out for him. And so that quote stuck with me prior to me even switching to acting. It was just the idea of being able to allow yourself to be free and flow of what, I don't know what you guys believe in, God, the universe, whatever opportunities may come your way, and being, allow yourself to pivot. And so it was there. I don't think, to be honest, there was any identity loss. It was like more of an eye opening, because long term I did want to do film and acting, and this is kind of, crapping on myself here, but I thought I was not good looking enough to break into the industry. So I was like, if I become a fighter, I can win fights and then become an actor. And I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be, there's guys who go to the film school, theater school, there's guys who are taller than me, bigger muscles, nicer eyes, but all that stuff, it's irrelevant, I guess. And so this path made its way to me much earlier than I anticipated, and I'm very happy, yeah.
That's wonderful.
That so
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Sorry, the mic there. Thank you.
No, and I especially love how you said it didn't even feel like a loss of self, and it just felt like things just became so clear for you, and just kind of your trajectory and realizing everything, and it really took off, because I mean, even from that moment with that audition, all of the projects that people can even see on your IMDb, and like all of the stuff that's not even on there yet, and like just how much you're already working and like doing all of these different things. And so I guess my question comes in is, at what point did writing come in? Because I know you've also been writing some stuff.
That came in pretty early on as well, to be honest. I have a lot of strange realizations. I had a realization, even if you become the biggest actor in the world, you're still telling someone else's story, and you may have some small impact on the story and the script, but ultimately it is someone else's story, and I definitely want to do that. I want to work for big franchises like Marvel, DC, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and tell other people's stories. But the end game is to have my own production company and tell the stories I want to tell, and not have someone, production oversight and tell you can't do this because it's too weird or whatnot. Like, I want to have that creative liberty to tell stories I've never been told, that are not, a prequel, sequel, original stories.
No, that's wonderful. We were just talking kind of about the balance between like independent film industry, versus like, the bigger monolith, of the film industry.
Yeah.
So having that balance is hugely important. Pivoting a little bit though, I'm curious if you ever consider doing any kind of stunt work with your history and like fighting in MMA or anything like that, if there's ever been an intersection, or if it's just kind of been a diversion.
There's definitely been some intersection. I'm actually working with Amanda, a friend of mine, who's making her own film. We're going over some stunts. There's another local web series, Offset, that as well. I'm helping them with an episode with stunts coming up. So It's something that's so, I guess, inherently in my background, that it's something that I could always use. And I do want to go on a bigger stage and be one of those big actors that do their own stunts for the most part. Obviously, there's a lot of dangerous stuff and backflips that I can't do necessarily. But a lot of these actors, like a Chris Hemsworth and Sebastian Stan, they'll do as much as the stunts as possible, so you can cut away and have those wide shots, and you can still see it's the actor. You don't have to worry about 10 different cuts hiding the face, and it really gives the audience that much more texture and textile. So absolutely, it's still going to be something I do for a while, but I definitely want to make it a point not to be a stuntman specifically, but an actor who does stunts.
I like that. Yep.
I love that. I love that so much.
Because respect, sorry, not to interrupt, just respect to those stunt guys, because their bodies go through so much. And
yeah, the Rising Star stunt team telling us all about it, following them on their socials, and I'm like, oof, he's getting whooped.
Absolutely respect to those guys. That's not something my body can go through for a career. Yeah, some roles here and there, but sorry to interrupt you.
No, never apologize. Like, I love it, and I especially agree with you, because knowing some stunt people as well, it's like how much they go through, and just watching them on sets is absolutely incredible. And I guess, speaking of sets and speaking of work and the body of work that you've already created and are continuing to create, what so far has been your favorite moment that's kind of come through this whole journey?
That is a quite interesting, great question. I don't think I've ever actually pondered that before.
But now is the time.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been so many great moments. It's really hard to narrow it down to one specific moment.
And it can be a few. It doesn't have to be one specific.
Okay, yeah. The one that stands out was one of the first times I made a short film, and they aired it at the Guild, and we had a Q&A where they had us come on stage afterwards, and it was a, packed house. It's not a very big, auditorium to fill. So,
they don't even know that.
That's true. But just authentically, it wasn't that many people, but it was still a packed house for what it was for the venue. And just having people actually come up to me with tears still in their eyes from the film that I made, and them telling me it emotionally impacted them, and seeing it, because you can write it and you can film it and stuff like that, but having someone that you don't know watch it and have it impact them the way it did, where they have to come up to you and explain this, I relate to this for reasons A, B, and C. There was a very heavy one. The way I made it was regarding people in AA, so it was just suicide as well, just very heavy topics. And I try to make a lot of my films about things that people can relate to, that are a little bit darker, a little bit heavier, that maybe a little bit more taboo, but people probably should talk about a little bit more. And so it was a very rewarding moment to see these people and have them, tell me, how much. Like I said, it was visible. The tears they were like, "Look what you've done to me." And I was like, "That's amazing."
That's huge.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I think that's such what we were talking about before, like such a special, sacred honor to like be able to enter into people's emotional spaces, And so it's so important to like go in there with like, intention and respect for your viewer, and understanding, especially when you're working with really heavy content. So that's huge, and how special. Wow. That makes me wonder, what inspires you? Yeah, like what continues to inspire you as you do your creative work?
To be honest, there's so many things from personal experiences to the injustices in the world. I don't know how, I don't want to really get too much into politics. There's a lot of stuff going on with ICE and people and immigrants, and I kind of want to tell a story about that next. The one I did prior to this one was about SA, so sexual assault, and so the things that inspire me are the things that, like I said, the injustices that people go through, and that their stories aren't told, and they feel like they're alone. I want to make sure that their stories are told, and they make sure that they understand that they're not the only ones that go through it, and that there's ways to heal through that journey. It's not necessarily, doesn't have to be trauma for the rest of their life. It could be something that you learn from. So like sorry.
No,
Don't apologize. Yes.
I love it, and that's just such a great answer. And I feel like we get so many different ones, but for it to be genuinely, because I feel like there's really two routes that I feel like creatives go, and they either go the route of they use their art to escape, or they use their art to speak on what goes on around them. And I love your thought process and kind of like the work you put into it, and just all of that. Like, I loved that whole answer. Like, don't apologize for it. And I guess kind of going into my next question would be, what's coming up next?
Yeah, I can't say anything about the role itself, but we actually had the honor of working together on an amazing film filmed here in New Mexico called Trap House. Dave Bautista, huge actor, a lot of big actor names on there.
Wow.
So yeah, that comes out November 14th. We have a release date theatrical. We do.
I didn't know that.
November 14th. We have it was picked up during one of the film festivals. I believe it was Cannes Film Festival. I could be wrong on that, but it was picked up by a production studio. So November 14th, we have an official national theatrical release, not worldwide, just national, which is still pretty awesome.
Wow. Yeah.
And so that is what I have coming up next, acting-wise. And then I do have a film. Might have to go through some drama, legal issues, but I'm trying to get the footage for it. But we just filmed something about the sexual assaults, that is very important to me. So can't wait to get that out there and have people see, once again, the importance of these kinds of stories. So those are the next things coming up. And am I allowed to ask you guys questions?
If you want, sure. No, yeah, go ahead.
I was like, what do you guys have going on too? I'd love to know what you guys have.
Simone?
God, what? I don't know.
In reverse, sorry.
I know, I love it. The best part is I think we're going to have an episode coming up, going to give a little bit more info about like our backgrounds and what's coming up, which is
no
super cool.
spoilers.
Spoilers. But just a basic overview, I do some theater. I do improv theater right now. I'm taking classes at the Box Albuquerque off of Second and Gold. I've been loving that. I do Rocky Horror. I sing when I can. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
She does everything. She
I can't stop.
Like, every time I open Instagram, she's got some next big event she's doing.
I can't make up my mind. Tevin?
We're also going to be moderators for Atomic 66.
Yes, which is going to be so exciting.
What's going on with me? I recently finished filming a short film, The Late Hour with Benson Bridges. I can't talk a lot about that one yet, but we're having I know editing's underway and I'm really excited. It's kind of like my last but it's my last acting kind of thing before I say goodbye to the acting side and kind of take a break for a good couple months and then see what next year brings me in. Yeah.
Awesome. What do you guys have planned for the future? Sorry.
I love that no reverse is so surreal. I know, right? Well, I'm going to be in a cabaret coming up, which is going to be really exciting. Also at the Box, not doing improv stuff, doing some theater things. And I don't know, opportunities always coming up here. But like you said, the Atomic 66 Festival, we're both going to be moderating, and that'll be so much fun.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Not much. I'm taking a little break.
A little sabbatical.
Still gonna be doing these. Don't freak out, creative fans. But it's taking my breather, my sabbatical. I think I'd like to call it.
Yeah.
It's just I feel like I've worked for a very long. I mean, it's been like a 3-year consistent stretch, and even Trap House. It was like working on Trap House. I was working on Eddington, and then it was like I was in the middle of working on Eddington, and then Seth from Trap House, the AD, he had texted me and was like, hey, you want to go and work on Trap House? And I was like, okay. And so then it was like as soon as my break started with Eddington, I immediately went over to Trap House and then went from Trap House back to Eddington. And then after Eddington, I helped clean up Loud House. And then it hopped around a lot. And so I need a break.
Yeah, you need some sleep.
Well deserved, it sounds like, too. Yeah. I mean, burning the candle from both ends, you quickly learn it has a negative reverse effect on you.
Yeah, the wax is going to run out at some point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that was surreal. Thank you so much for switching it up. Yeah, and thank you so much for being here. Where can people find your work and what's coming up or what you're doing now?
Yeah, I do have an Instagram. So my Instagram handle is Alexander_. My last name is ALAYON_JR. I do have a YouTube page as well. It is very, very in the very beginning, so next to no followers, next to no posts. I do have some of my short films on there though. It's called The Filmmaker's Time Chamber. So I have some of my stuff on there. You can check out some of our previous work. Very low budget, very early on, but I'm just so passionate that I love shooting things just even off of a GoPro with zero budget, and
that's the way to do it.
So coming from directing and having acted on a huge side, it's a nice balance because it's humbling because you get to see all these billion-dollar productions, and you're like, all right, let me try to recreate this with no budget.
Challenge accepted. Yep.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So very cool.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This has been an amazing experience, and thank you guys for what you guys do for the whole industry, because you giving people the spotlight is such an important, all these people who, like you said in the beginning, people may not know me, and that's fair. So thank you. And there's everyone, including you guys, deserve for people to know who you are and what you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you, man.
My heart. I know. What a day. Well, that's lovely. Yeah, we're grateful to be doing what we do. Couldn't do it without people like you joining us. So, and without viewers like you tuning in. So, perfect segue. Thank you so much for tuning in for another incredible episode. Thank you so much to Studio 519, to our incredible sponsors, to our producers for making this happen, finding these amazing people, and of course to my amazing co-host, Tevin Brown.
And to my amazing co-host, Simone Campbell.
And to all of you, fantastic viewers, and continue to tune in. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
I won't cry. I won't hide. I won't